So various stakeholders in the education sector, including government departments, are urging Eskom to put contingency measures in place for learners sitting for preliminary exams. Subjects that include computer application technology would require uninterrupted power supply, and Eskom has promised to give timely notification should there be planned power cuts. We're joined now by Elijah Mhlanga, basic education spokesperson, on some of the contingency plans that they have lined up. Thank you very much for availing yourself this afternoon. Maybe let's just set the scene in terms of every time there's interrupted power supply, especially in the past 3 weeks, how does this impact learning?
Good afternoon to Dozila. Well, it does impact learning in general for all grades in our schools, especially in schools where they need electricity for teaching and learning, but also those schools of specialization where there's electronic equipment which require electricity to be operated. And in the past 3-4 weeks, we know we've been running the pre-trial exams, preliminary exams, and those have been interrupted as well because we expect our learners to be fully prepared for them because they provide us with an opportunity to test their readiness ahead of the final exams that are coming up in the next 33 days. So we are not able to make a full assessment because of the power interruptions in terms of the readiness of learners themselves. But also we know that during exams, the lack of power supply affects the work that we do in storage facilities where we keep our question papers, but also just the general movement of people when they're transporting question papers. So there's just general anxiety during exam time when there are power outages, as we have been seeing in the past few weeks.
Sure, and that anxiety should just be about making sure you make the grade, right? But have you been able as a department to measure the impact also on learners who perhaps also study at home, right? Where you find some learners still in 2022 using candles to study.
Yeah, it's difficult. Our learners tell us that it's very difficult. That's why we try to use as much time as possible in school for them to be supported so that we can finish the curriculum. But also we go further than that to create camps and weekend classes so that they're able to come to school and continue to do the work that they've not been able to do, or at least to revise that which they've already covered. So there's just general problems when it comes to that. But when you also look at the timetable, you find that we now have to provide for 2 possible dates right in the beginning in terms of the work that we need to do to provide for our learners when it comes to the writing of computer applications technology, but also at the end of the exam, we also make available 2 dates which can be used to write computer applications technology in IT, where this would have not been possible due to the power outages, something that was not there before, but now we're making it a permanent feature that right at the beginning we have a date for CAT and IT, and then at the end, we have dates as well for that. So it means that we've had to adjust the way we do things. But our biggest worry, as you indicated, is the preparedness of learners. We fear that it could lead to irregularities where learners are bringing in crib notes into the exam room because they feel they did not study enough due to the interruptions. But we don't want things to get to that level. We appeal, therefore, to members of the community, parents, guardians, and neighbors to please lessen the noise so that our class of 2022 can prepare for exams. And this is very important because this particular class of 2022, grade 12, they were in grade 10 in 2020 when COVID hit us and schools were closed. They went back to school much later in the year, couldn't finish the curriculum, could not write exams. Last year it was the same thing in 2021, couldn't finish the exams. But we tried to push, but still exams were not possible because they had not covered all the work. So it's the first time now that they are meeting a real life situation where exam is facing them and they need to step up to the game and really show up. And that happening in the context of the power outages. So they really need as much support as they can get.
It's not fair. I do wonder, though, in terms of the basic education department speaking to your sister department, what is it that you have heard, maybe in terms of supporting the education department and our learners?
Well, we have spoken to Eskom. We speak to them from time to time. There was even a time when we requested them to insulate our schools and keep power running in those places where the exams have been written. But that was not successful because we're told that we're not the only sector that was impacted negatively. Health as well. As you know, they have appealed for electricity to be kept running in the hospitals. We've been told that it's not possible. It's something that cannot be done because of the spread of the schools, which are located in communities where they are, which means you cannot supply power only to a school and exclude the community. That could also create other challenges. So we have to make do with what we have, difficult as it may be, but we believe with support from all stakeholders in the school communities, we could do something to demonstrate to our learners that we care about them and that we understand their plight.
Elijah Mhlanga speaks for the Basic Education Department. Thank you, sir.